Hi, and welcome to Gaming with EaselJS, an advanced Canvas course on Tuts+. Well, I hope you've enjoyed following along with me just as much as I've enjoyed making this course. Throughout the lessons we've learnt not only how to use the EaselJS framework and work with the canvas, but we've also learned a lot of valuable lessons along the way. We've learnt how we can use Node and Grunt to automate tasks and to speed up our development process and actually help us organize better. Apart from just picking up tools, we've learnt a lot of interesting concepts as well, such as how to break up our code into modules using Browserify, and other interesting concepts such as using a hash to set up a list of rules for managing our key actions. Not only have we set up a scrolling space shooter game from scratch, but we've done so without any kind of physics engine or even collision engine either. We've built everything from scratch, allowing us to really fine-tune our game's performance and behavior. So before finishing the course, I wanted to throw out a few ideas of what could be developed next in our game, and possibly another approach that we could have taken for managing collisions. Obviously our game is lacking a couple of things that we'll need to make a fully functioning. Now, as we've already spoken about, our game is lacking the ability to change levels, and some other details such as the ability for objects to go out one side of the game map and reappear on the other side. Now, while I'm sure you guys can handle that sort of stuff yourself, I wanted to offer a possible idea of how we can organize our collisions. At the moment, all of our collision handling is being passed down to the individual objects involved. Now, while I think it makes perfect sense for the objects to receive their collision events so that they can perhaps run an animation, or the asteroids could split up into smaller pieces, so that they can take actions that are on a very local level relating just to themselves. But the hero, let's say, shouldn't know when the game needs to reset if his health reaches 0. The asteroid shouldn't really know that when it gets destroyed, the overall score will go from 50 to 60. And for that in particular, I had this idea to create a rules module. It would be one module where you could see all of the various interactions that can happen within the game and see the result of that interaction. So here I've organized our collisions, and we have across the top the name of the other element in the collision. So a collision with a meteor, a collision with a hero, with a laser, enemy, and a modifier. You can imagine this list could get quite long, managing different types of enemies and even different types of lasers. Our meteor, if it runs into a meteor, does nothing. So this part of the array is empty. If it runs into the hero, it is destroyed. If it runs into the laser, it's destroyed. The hero, on the other hand, will take damage against a meteor and an enemy, but with a modifier, it will apply the modifier. And the enemy will take damage against the hero and a laser, and the modifier, if it runs into the hero, will simply be destroyed. Notice the separation of concerns. Nobody cares what anybody else does during the collision. The modifier just knows that it gets destroyed. Now, to actually work with this, I think this is a nice way to view the code, but to actually work with it before, in the initialization phase of our game, we could convert that into a map that looked more like this. So you could pass in the self of the collision, and then pass in the other, and you would get straight to the action to take. It would require no iteration, just a direct property access. Now, how we manage these functions really depends. Maybe it's a function, maybe it's just a string method name of a function that's meant to be called on the object, or maybe it's a function that gets called with the object as the context. In any case, you could see how we could wrap up all of our game logic in one module to make it much easier to add in new logic later. This module could link up directly with the HUD to keep it up to date, and we could also have rules for when objects are destroyed, including adding points, resetting the game, or nothing at all. Finally, before I go, I wanted to share with you one last thing. Obviously, all of the source code will be available on Tuts+, but I've also put the two games, EaselJS Sokoban and EaselJS Space Shooter, on GitHub. I'll probably be working on them a little bit to improve them just for fun, but you can feel free to fork the code and use it however you like, or even make a pull request if you've got a particular improvement that you've made. Well, that's all for this course. I hope you've had fun. I've really enjoyed making it, and I hope you'll check out more courses on Tuts+. Ciao!